Well, here I am again. Um, Once again, uh, this is about the events in Baltimore following the murder of Freddie Gray. I know there's a lot of people out there who don't agree with me or anybody who stands with me about the ineffectiveness of rioting. But make no mistake, just because I don't think, or I pretty much know that rioting doesn't bring any type of result, don't think for 1 second that I'm saying black people shouldn't be angry. Don't think for 1 second that I don't think that these corrupt governments and these corrupt and evil police forces don't deserve everything they're getting right now. You know, but I stand by the notion that violence only brings about more violence. You want proof? Violence against black people resulted in this violence we have now in Baltimore, resulted in the violence we had in Ferguson, the violence we had in Watts in 65, in Detroit, here, right here in Detroit in 67, in LA in 91. Violence brought about that type of violence. This violence that is occurring through this rioting and everything like that, it's not going to make people change their minds about killing us. If anything, it's going to validate their reasons to kill us. I call for peace because, as I've learned before, an eye for an eye makes everybody blind. It's sad that we, as black people, are too jaded and are too what's another word? We're too angry to see that. I guess angry would be the simplest word I can use. You know, it's sad. We're disenchanted. You know, we're just disenchanted. We're tired. We're fed up. And in the process of being tired and fed up, we need to take our anger out of something. It's nature. It's human nature, not just black nature. It's human nature. When you're angry, you're gonna lash out. But the way to get to these type of people, see, America is a corporate nation. America is a capitalist nation, people. You won't hurt America by destroying their buildings. They have the money to build those things right back up. 9/11, when those planes crashed into the twin towers, what happened? Years later, they have a bigger and better twin towers. You don't hurt capitalists. You don't hurt a corporation by destroying the property. You hurt the corporation by hurting their pockets. Boycott. Stop buying into their system. If the city of Baltimore, if the black people in the city of Baltimore, or anywhere for that matter, with this injustice going on here, hell, let's not even talk about Baltimore anymore. Right here in Detroit, there was a 19-year-old man shot 10 times by federal agents. You want to get their attention? Boycott everything. Don't get on their buses. Don't use their resources. Stop spending your money. We are a minority. That's true. As far as actual numbers are concerned, yeah, we are a minority. But we are a majority when it comes to being consumers. Black people are the biggest consumers in America. We would seriously hurt them if we stopped spending our money. Then they're going to say, hey, what can we do? Let's negotiate. Let's bring about something. What do you want us to do? I have people telling me, as well as anybody who agrees with me, to, shut the fuck up. Because they think that because I'm sure there's a lot of people that agree with me, that in our call for peace, that in our call to change the tactics and focus our anger on in another fashion, that we're condemning, or we're saying that black people shouldn't be angry, or black people shouldn't feel the way they feel. Nah, it's not the case at all. If anything, the rioting is the Baltimore Police Department's fault. They brought that upon themselves. If anything, Ferguson brought that upon themselves. LA, Detroit, and Watts, same thing. They brought this violence upon themselves. I guess it's just philosophical differences will always make for uneasy debates or uneasy talks, you know, because the way you feel about something is the way you're going to feel. The way I feel is the way I'm going to feel. But even though you say one thing and I say another, there's a commonality between the both of us. And the commonality between the both of us is the fact that this needs to change. This needs to stop. Period. Police violence against black people need to stop. This false sense of authority, this unfounded, sense of invincibility or immunity to law needs to stop. Don't try to silence another man because you think your opinion is greater or more valid than his. I will not shut the fuck up, nor will anybody that agrees with me will shut the fuck up. Hell, Malcolm X publicly and vehemently ripped Dr. Martin Luther King apart because of his nonviolent stance. Ripped them apart. Yet he inexplicably changed his entire tune. I don't know if it's because he saw his violent tactics weren't working. I don't know if it's because the people he stood by betrayed him. Or maybe it's because he saw that Dr. Martin Luther King was actually getting results with what he was doing. But either way, it may have been one of those or a combination of all of those. But he changed his tune and joined with Martin Luther King and worked with him. Don't condemn me. I don't condemn you. You want war, and I understand. But just because I call for peace, don't try to silence me. Let's get together and, excuse me, let's get together and work on ways, despite our difference of opinion. Let's work on ways and to try to end it. Let's use what we actually do agree upon. And let's build something. Let's create something to combat this injustice that none of us want. Despite our differences, nobody wants violence. I mean, nobody wants this injustice against us. Rioting has never worked. If rioting stopped police brutality, it would have worked decades ago. But it hasn't. Police brutality has actually increased since the 1950s. And we've been rioting since 1950. So let's change our strategy. Let's change our tactics. Let's focus this anger because it's all anger. Just because I call for peace doesn't mean I'm not angry. Let's turn this blind anger into righteous anger. And just because we disagree doesn't mean we can't come together. The last thing we need is a bunch of infighting and insults because of philosophical differences between us. One person wants war and to destroy the system. The other wants peace and wants to change the system. But one way or the other, never lose sight of the fact, America, all this can be laid at your feet. All this can be laid at your feet. Any blood that's shed is on your hands. Anything that's destroyed, any type of destruction is you're accountable for. You can be held accountable for it. But we as in the black community, the black nation, we need to come together. And I know this has been preached uh, for God knows how long. But it has to happen. And until it does, there will be more Freddie Grays. There will be more Mike Browns. Many more. Once again, That's my take on it. Feel free to like, feel free to comment, just as anything else I put on here. Your opinions are welcomed. You will not be condemned. I will not tell you to shut the fuck up like I've been told. Anyway, until next time, peace.